Kimber, how's it going there today?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you very much. It sounds like you've been busier than a lot of people lately. You just signed a long-term deal with Impact, am I correct?
You are correct. I did.
How long did you have to kind of keep it a secret that you were working on a long-term deal like that?
I've known probably for a little over, I think we're getting like 2 weeks I've known, so not too long. I've had to keep it a secret, but
Got it. That's a big vote of confidence to say the least, but I understand at the same time as all that you're studying to be a vet tech?
yes, I am actually in school right now for veterinary technology. My other job that I do is I work as a veterinary assistant right now too, so I'm kind of in the field while I'm learning about the field. But yeah, and it'll actually be my second degree. So
When in your life did you decide that that was a field or a passion that you were going to be pursuing?
I've always been somebody who loves animals and wants to help them in some way that I can. I know at one point when I was younger, I wanted to potentially be a veterinarian and do the whole doctorate, but just with the way life played out and wanting to pursue this wrestling career, I didn't do that. But I guess it was kind of something I dove into because of the pandemic, because I had so much time on my hands for a little while anyway, that I just kind of went for it, and I love everything about it so far.
Does that mean that you started off the pandemic like a lot of us, where you're just watching a lot of Netflix and you kind of realized there was a dead end at a certain point?
Pretty much. I, before that, was working as a bartender, so I'm one of the many people who suddenly didn't have a job one day. I remember because of that, like, it just kind of spurred me to want to do something that will always be around and something that I truly love, and kind of change my pathway a little bit.
Were you always good in science in school?
Depended on the science. I'm more kind of reading oriented. I'm really good at writing, and I have a really high reading retention rate. But in high school, I actually took zoology and biology as electives as opposed to anything else. So I love biology, but if you start to dive into like physics and chemistry, I can't stand it. So
I can definitely relate to that. Does this mean that you have a lot of pets at home, or given that you and your husband are both traveling kind of people, you have no pets?
well, we have four. We have three cats, and we have a dog. I have Penny Lane and Lucy in the Sky. Those are my two cats. And then since Zach and I have been together, we've gotten Ron Burgundy. And then we have our little dog, who is Rey Mysterio Jr. So,
Wow, there is some great range in the pop culture references. The first two are Beatles references. Big Beatles fans, both of you?
that one was more me. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I get that more from my aunt. But I love the Beatles. We kind of fought over Ron's name. I wanted to name him Sergeant Pepper, but I lost. So
There could have been another reference in there and all that, but Penny Lane, of course, is also the character from Almost Famous. Is that lost on you, or did you also like that movie as well?
that one's lost on me. I've heard that before, but I haven't seen that movie. So
Got it. So in having four pets, do they ever come with you on the road to Impact or other appearance kind of situations?
Ray has come on the road with us but our cats can stay home. They are a little less needy. It depends on how long. I've left my cats for no longer than like 2 days, but they have a free feeder and they have a free water dish and they have a litter box, so they're okay for a little longer. But dogs, you got to take them with you.
So you're not the only person on the Impact roster who's going through school right now. When I interviewed Deanna a couple of weeks ago, she mentioned that she was getting her degree in, I think, history or art history or something to that effect. Is there anyone else that you're aware of in Impact who's also going through college right now?
I believe Madison Rain is also in college right now. I'm not 1,000% sure what her degree is. I think it's business, but I could be wrong. But I know she's in school too, and that's the only other one I know. But
Wow, pretty educated roster right there. And it just sounds like everyone is getting along really well and morale is high in Impact. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. Impact made me feel like I was at home when even before I had signed my contract. And it's a place that I can really believe in. All the women are so talented, and every single one of us is so diverse and different. And there's so many different combinations you can make with that. And it's really great.
And of course, Zach is also doing really well in Impact in the moment. We see him on TV a lot. He has great matches and all that. But you guys are not the only married couple roster in Impact, without naming names here. When you guys come home, does wrestling ever come up, or do you actually still talk about it and watch it?
It does here and there. We've always kind of kept wrestling separate from our relationship. He's his own person and I'm my own person, but we do we do at the same time, ask each other to watch stuff here and there. We recently started helping out our training kids at a school, so we work together in that, but there's a lot more to us than just our wrestling. So
Wow. So now that you just mentioned training people as well, you are such a hard person to define because you are a wrestler, you're a coach, you're in school, were previously doing things related to your vet path. How do you manage to get all this done? Are you a big to-do list or calendar kind of person?
yeah, I have a calendar up on my wall that has all my testing dates written down, so they're right in my face. I've got motivational quotes next to them, and lots of caffeine.
Right, right. Were you always this productive and focused, or is this as you got a little older and out of school, that's when you realized you needed to be focused and organized?
I would call it more of an organized chaos even now. I even through high school though, I was dancing full time with a pre-performance company when I was in high school. So I would go to school all day and then dance for probably 4 hours after school and then have to get my homework done somewhere in there too. And I've had 2 jobs in high school. So it's just kind of always been my whole life. I'm not somebody who can just sit idly. I have to do lots of things all at once or I feel like I'm just wasting time.
Was caffeine always part of the equation, or did that come later on?
I grew up in Seattle, so coffee has always been a part of my life.
I didn't realize you were from Seattle. Of course, one of the greatest
Yeah.
music cities in history, but synonymous with coffee. Do you have a different relationship with Starbucks, being that it's like a hometown thing?
Don't like it. Starbucks isn't good. Everyone thinks of Seattle as Starbucks coffee, but that's really like the bottom of the barrel compared to some of the stuff you can find out there. I worked at a coffee shop called Cafe Vita. I used to be able to pour a latte art, all that stuff. So
Does that mean that we're also going to find out that Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden weren't great bands, that you don't have allegiance to them as well?
no, I absolutely have allegiance to all of them. And I just like to be the first one to say here, Courtney did it.
Well, did you actually see that documentary that the PI put out where he gave some evidence related to that?
Soaked in bleach, is that the one you're talking about?
Exactly. Wow. You know all
Yeah.
sorts of different beats and paths right there. Are you a big music person, or did I just pick up on the Beatles and the fact that you saw Soaked in Bleach?
I am a big music person. I definitely a Seattle grunge rocker through and through. I'm kind of stuck in that. Chris Cornell is my favorite vocalist of all time. Yeah, that's kind of the genre I sit in.
Have you seen the new documentary kind of series that Chris Cornell's daughter just put out?
I have not gotten a chance to see that yet, but it's high on my list. The amount of time I get to watch TV is limited, so.
Yeah, to say the very least, because not only are you doing all this, but you're staying in great shape at the same time. It really is kind of a head scratcher as to how you get it all done, but you talked a little bit about that. So bring it back to Impact here. Any goals besides being there for a long, long time?
Obviously, I want to be the women's champion. That's always the goal, isn't it? But, just to elevate the company even more than it already is, to bring what I have to the table and I know they've had a queen for a while, but now it's time to have a princess, wouldn't you think?
Yep, sounds about right to me. And you make a good point that everybody does want to be the champion and all that. Do you just want to be the Knockouts champion, or is tag team something that you eventually see yourself going for as well?
Tag team wrestling has always been one of my favorites. I adore being in it's a different dynamic. It's a different way that a match has to work, and I love being a part of that. So being in a tag team would be great. I would be all for that.
And Impact notably had some great signings in the past couple of weeks. Did you know any of those guys before they came on board, like EC3 and Gallows and Anderson and Heath and all that?
I had met them in the past just through the independent circuit, and it's just, again, even more amazing talent, and like almost impossible to compare one to the other because they're so unique. And just the fact that Impact is giving everybody a platform where they can truly be themselves is probably my favorite part about the company.
A question I like to ask Impact talent when I speak with them is who, besides themselves, they think is the most underrated person on the roster. Do you have an answer for that?
I mean, I have to say the biased one, and I think Zachary Wentz is way underrated and has the potential to do so much, but I also see a lot of more of his stuff. But I mean, I honestly, all three of the Rascals, I would go with Desmond Xavier and Trey Miguel too. They both are so good, and like I've seen all of them wrestle for so long, and just seeing where I saw them start and where they are now, like I'd really like to see them get the ball and just run with it.
Absolutely. I hope to eventually interview Zach and hear his side of all that, but it's great to see him rise up and all that. I did mention before that there's other couples on the Impact roster. Do you hang out socially with any of the other Impact couples?
We do hang out with Jessica Havoc and Sami Callihan. Jake Christ and Nevaeh, I've hung out with them. I mean, just there's a lot of us in Dayton, so we all kind of hang out when we can. But again, my hangout time with people is very limited. So
Right, you're not wrong about that one. So the closing question, any last words for the kids?
Never stop going for something that you truly want. There's been many moments where I could have quit. There's been many moments where I could have given up, but I just never did. And because of that, great things have happened, and you just have to believe in yourself. And I promise great things will happen.
Case in point, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing what's coming up for you, and really so inspiring to see what you're doing all at the same time.
Thank you.
Paltrocast.